Hello, everyone. Mr. Stu here. Hope you're having an excellent day. Today, I just want to go over human impact with you and the assessment that you all took last week. And this is just a review. And just to remind you all that, hey, we will get through this. All right? You're doing a great job. But April 27th, here we go. All right, so welcome to the end of Human Impacts. I want to wrap these up and review some of these questions with you. And if you didn't get a second to answer these questions, please go to Google Classroom and go ahead and do that. Okay, take your time, pause, play the video, come back to us once that's all done, because some of these questions will be coming back to you when you're in 8th grade. So we want you to know this stuff, okay? And then up next, we're going to be diving into waves. Yes, waves. What kind, you may ask? Well, you'll have to wait and see. So that's going to be the rest of the week. But for now, stay healthy, check in, get some sun, and keep doing your best. Okay, so I want to begin with question 1, and we're going to deal with Deontay's family. All right, so Deontay's family sees a solar panel display and is considering using solar power for their home. Deontay knows that solar energy is a natural energy resource. Ding, ding, ding. How do the two main kinds of natural resources compare? Don't worry about Deontay, only worry about this question. How do the two main kinds of natural resources compare? So you're looking at basically how do renewable energy sources compare versus non-renewable energy sources. Okay, so here were your options. Here was the right answer. Renewable resources are unlimited, while non-renewable energy resources are limited. Let me go into why. So you may be, okay, I get it, but why is that the right answer? Well, renewable resources cannot be replaced, while non-renewable resources can be replaced. Okay, we cannot commit to that answer. What we can say is that renewable resources are unlimited, while non-renewable resources are limited. Renewable, you have water, wind, solar, geothermal, basically, right? Well, non-renewable are fossil fuels. They're not going to be coming back. Okay, once you use them, they're gone. We can't go with 3 because both renewable and non-renewable resources are sustainable. That's not true, because usually non-renewable resources are not sustainable, but with renewable, they are. Lastly, renewable resources are man-made, while non-renewable resources are naturally occurring. Easy with this one. So now they technically are naturally occurring, but over millions and millions and millions of years, while renewables, we can get some sun right now and power our homes with it. Okay? That was number 1. Number 2, back with Deontay's family. Deontay's family currently uses city electricity, and their power comes from a coal-burning power plant. What problems come from using fossil fuels? Name 2 of them. So we're going to ask you to click 2 of these, right? Does it burn very hot? Is it non-renewable? Contributes to the greenhouse effect? Is it expensive? So you're supposed to choose 2 of these, all right? Here's the answer. I wanted non-renewable and contributes to greenhouse effect. Now, why, you might ask? Well, burning very hot does not matter in this situation, and that is expensive does not matter in this situation because A, it is not that expensive, and how hot it burns does not matter. But what does matter is that it is non-renewable. Once you burn it and use it, it's gone, and the effects from that is that it contributes to the greenhouse effect. Okay? All right. Question 3. Javier's class visited a power plant near his city, and they learned that it produced electricity. So this is a hydroelectricity power plant. Okay. What does this form of power depend on for generating electricity? Do me a favor. Don't even worry about those questions. Just look at this visual. Okay. You have, this is all the water. It's flowing down this slope. Okay, you have these turbines, not wind turbines, okay, but you have, this is the movement of water in some way. Here were those answers. You're asking you to choose, what does this form of power plant depend on for generating electricity? What does it depend on? Okay, let's see. It depends on the movement of large amounts of water downhill. Okay, I get it, but why? Okay. The movement of turbines spun by air. Do you see any air being moved? No. Converting energy from the sun. Do you see solar panels? No. Movement of large amounts of water downhill? Ding, ding, ding. Yes. Evaporation of large volumes of water? Pack your bags. Not today. Okay? Next up, number 4. Which human activity would help reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Is it decreasing fossil fuels, decreasing the number of recycling programs, increase the human population, increase the number of cars being driven? I don't know, you tell me. But hey, Mrs. Piggy and Kermit the Frog, they know what's up. By riding their bikes and not driving somewhere, they decrease the burning of fossil fuels. Why isn't it these other ones? Well, if you decrease the number of recycle programs, that would not help. Increase the human population? Oh geez, that would definitely not help. More people, more energy, more stuff to use, more pollution. Increase the amount of cars being driven. Come on, look at them. Ride your bike, folks, if you can. You know, that's one option, or bus, but generally we want to get away from burning fossil fuels as much as we can. Okay, number 5, Bill Nye is losing it over here. Okay, which 2 gases, when released into the atmosphere, are believed to contribute most to global warming? So, looking at a few different gases. So, we're talking about nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and methane. Of these 4 gases, which correct 2 contribute most to global warming? The answer is methane and carbon dioxide. Why, you may ask? Well, we can't go with oxygen. We can't go with oxygen down here, so you can cross out 3 and 1. Nitrogen and carbon dioxide, I don't want to talk about nitrogen. That's not going to be it. It's going to be methane and carbon dioxide. Why? Here we go. Here are a couple different visuals. Right? So this is the kind of a breakdown of how much each human-caused greenhouse gas contributes to the total emissions around the globe. Number 1, carbon dioxide, burning fossil fuels, how we power our power plants, driving vehicles, all of that. Then methane. If you like your cheeseburgers, if you like any real meat product, those come from serious animals, and they also need to poop, just like us. And they are putting out tons of methane because there are just so many cows and chickens out there. And livestock, okay? That's what I want to think. So they are emitting forms of methane, and then we emit a lot of carbon dioxide. Just as in a couple examples. There are more, but I want to talk to you about those 2, okay? Question 6. Okay, the diagram represents the steps necessary to provide electricity to area homes in a power facility. Coal is burned to produce heat to boil the water. The steam produced then used to power the generator, which powers the homes. We're asking you to describe one negative effect that burning of coal to produce electricity has on the environment. Coal, you burn it, powers the generator, powers the homes. What's one negative effect? I'll take a couple. Air pollution, human health risks, increased carbon dioxide, and that it degrades the environment where the coal has been dug up. Okay, so these are what we're going to be accepting, because when you're burning products like that, what do you think the effect is on the environment? Picture it. You can picture it. You can picture all the pollutants going out in the environment, all right, and how it affects humans' health, what we breathe in, the increase of carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas, and degrading the environment where the coal has been being dug up. If you just leave it in the ground, you're going to save some by the environment. All right? Next up, another one. I love this diagram. Using the same diagram, describe one action that area homeowners could take to reduce the amount of coal needed to power the facility. So, what can homeowners do to stop using coal to power their homes? Think about that. What I'm thinking about? Use less of the energy. Folks, if we used less energy, if we turned off lights, if we stopped opening up the fridge to let the cold air out, just think about what you want, close it. If we decreased our amount of energy, we would decrease how much energy that these homes would need to power, which decreases the amount of coal. So by just using less power, you can really conserve how much energy is around the home and used. Okay, that's one thing that they can do. Next up, Number 8. One positive effect of recycling aluminum cans to manufacture new beverage containers is conserving Earth resources, creating acid rain, warming Earth's atmosphere, increasing the ozone. Answer: conserving Earth's resources. Folks, when we recycle, we conserve Earth's resources. We're not making new things, right? For this one, we can't accept acid rain. We can't accept warming Earth's atmosphere. We can't accept increasing the ozone layer, because the best answer for this one positive, we're looking for a positive, that it is conserving Earth's resources. Okay? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Oh yeah. Next up, which energy source is non-renewable? Is it sunlight? Is it wind? Is it biomass? Is it fossil fuel? Off the bat, what can be remade? What cannot be remade? Answer: fossil fuel, folks. Okay? So think about oil, think about gas. But why? Well, sunlight, renewable. Wind, renewable. Biomass. This is the stuff that we can throw away and burn and turn into energy. That's going to keep on coming. But fossil fuels, once we burn it and use it, it's gone. Number 10. What is the source of energy for the water cycle? Think about this diagram. There is one thing in here that powers the system. Okay? What is powering this system to change really water into different forms? Think about it. And the answer is the sun. Okay? Why is it the sun? Well, in order for water to evaporate, it needs heat from the sun. In order for the weather patterns to change, it's going to need the sun to produce different forms of energy for this system to run. So we need to thank the sun for letting our water cycle work the way that it does. The answer was the sun. Yes, another one. Which process changes the water vapor into water droplets that form the cloud? So we have evaporation, we have precipitation, but there's something missing right here. Maybe y'all know what that is. It's going to be condensation. 10 points for Gryffindor. Very good job if you got that, all right? Condensation is after the water vapor is in here. It condenses and cools to form a cloud. Once that cloud gets all filled up, then we're going to have some precipitation, and the cycle continues. Okay? All right, folks. That was excellent. Good work today. Great job from Jimmy Fallon. Thumbs up from SpongeBob. And don't forget this otter. Folks, keep working hard. Stay with it. Y'all are doing a great job. And focus on waves starting tomorrow. Any questions? Let us know. Keep it up. Stay clean. Stay chill.